Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the R.E.A.L Academy. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Shika. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Yes, happy Saturday. And we are pre recording this morning because we have some family things going on. Tammy's going to see her niece, Abby, play soccer. Is this her first game?
This is opening day, and I have that Skika back to school bash this morning. So
Okay.
got to head down there after the opening day
Uh,
with soccer.
and we are doing one last mini vacation before school starts. So we've been water parking it up.
The
So we're
girls having fun.
still, yes, they're having a ball. So we are again pre-recorded, but still great information for you. Again, welcome to the R.E.A.L Academy, and the R.E.A.L Academy is based off of our framework that we've created. The R.E.A.L acronym stands for basically it's what we use to help navigate school improvement and also avoid school improvement. But it stands for respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, and leadership. And this is the roadmap that we needed to help guide us through what we were going through when we were in school improvement. And it helped us move our school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year, along with our dynamic school teams. And the philosophies that the framework is based in are based on the philosophies of Dr. Ron Edmonds, which is a school improvement expert. So if you're not familiar with us, we are here every Saturday at 10:30 with our dynamic Fantastic Four. Principal Hurt comes on before us at 10, and I'm sure he's going to have a phenomenal message that you've just heard before us. And we're followed by Principal Kafele. And I know he's going to have a dynamic message as well. I saw what he posted about it. And then on Sundays, Unlock the Middle is a part of our Fantastic Four. So we're honored to be a part of this great professional learning network. And if you're not familiar with me, again, I'm Dr. Chika Houston. I'm the Director of Secondary Interventions for our district. I'm also the AVID District Director for our district and an AVID staff developer. I serve on the Board of Trustees for MUSC Hospital Systems and Girls on the Run Tri-County. And Tammy and I are both best-selling contributing authors to Women Who Lead and the co-founders of Create and Educate LLC, where we provide professional development and coaching to educators and leaders.
As Shika said, I am Principal Tammy Taylor, and I lead an elementary school, pre-K through 5. Very grateful, so proud to be principal and practitioner, which makes the message, as Shika was saying, something that hopefully is relevant and real to you all. I am a practicing principal because it has provided us with the opportunity to come together and to be able to share with you as a part of that Fantastic Four that Shika mentioned before, because as she stated, I'm co-founder of Create and Educate with her. And it's just our mission to be able to give back to the education system, that thing that we did not have. And that was an opportunity to learn and grow from people who were practicing in leadership at that time and could help us to avoid some of the pitfalls that were a part of our journey. But that journey has led us here to be able to help those who are following in our footsteps and who are taking the plunge into leadership so that we are problem solvers for folks who may not know where else they can go to get some solid advice and practices and strategies for helping your school to be a better school and ultimately to improve your students' achievement by moving the academic needle for achievement and for growth.
Definitely. And if you have been tuning in the past couple of Saturdays, we have been focusing on having a strong start to the school year. And this is always an exciting time for basically everyone. Usually going back to school is exciting for the students. A lot of times my kids can't sleep the night before because they're excited and parents are excited. So we want everyone to have a great, strong start to the year and a successful year. So this Saturday, we're helping parents help students have a strong start to the school year the real way. So parents, we're going to apply our R.E.A.L.L acronym to helping you with this, and leaders, educators, some of you may be parents, some of you may not be, but you can also share this message with your parents. So on our framework, the R stands for respect. That's the door that you see at the very top of the screen there on our framework. And we have to teach our children, and I teach my children to have respect for themselves, for your family and your values that you've instilled in them, respect for the adults that are responsible for them at school. And that includes if they ride the bus driver, the teachers, and everyone that they're coming in contact with. I always tell my children, you are representing us and our family when you're out and about everywhere. So that needs to be shown, but also respect for their friends, because we, have instances where there's lots of conflict. I really don't even like to use, there are some instances of bullying, but most of the time there's conflict that children don't know how to work through. And it usually deals with a lack of respect. But they should also expect respect in return. So just helping them with respect in that regard. And what else were you adding, Tammy?
Just as Sheikah mentioned, I think that the respect is holistic. Like you have to have respect for yourself, because if you start with respect for yourself and you believe and you've been taught that you treat other people the way you want them to treat you, then you have this mutual respect as a part of what becomes the culture that you bring to school. But I'd just like to say, as parents, it's also important that you help your children to understand that even though you're having respect for all of the people that you come into contact with, and that's from the principal to the custodians, it doesn't matter who it is, just that level of respect and regard for human beings. But you also have to teach them to have respect for the systems and the structures that make up school. Because if you respect the fact that there are structures in place to keep you safe, there are structures in place to ensure that we're going to have a smooth day, there are structures in place to make sure that you're in class on time, that you are in your seat when you're supposed to be in your seat, and you're participating when you're supposed to be participating. All those things and all those systems and structures that are part of the school day are important to respect, because if you do that, then that conflict that Sheikah's talking about that sometimes happens among the students with one another also avoids the conflict that can come as a result of students who disrespect the structures and don't follow what are considered to be the expectations of the school. And that creates monumental problems that can be avoided just by saying, these are the house rules, and so this is what we're going to operate by.
And the last thing I'm going to add, Tammy, is sometimes we don't talk about this, but just having respect for your children. And sometimes we don't think of respecting children like, oh, they're just kids, but they're humans. They have feelings, and every time that we say something or do something, we're not always right as adults. So, respecting the fact that when they have to go to school, we want them to have a good start to their day. So we're not fussing at them, and they might need to be fussed at. Because I've had to fuss at my daughter a few times before school when she daughters before school and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But I always make sure, okay, mommy's sorry that I had to fuss at you, but we've got to get this right for you to have a good start to your day, and make sure I give them a hug, and make sure everything is going to go well for them, because we don't want to ruin the day for them as they're just
Definitely.
starting out.
And I think it's important too to make sure that those kinds of things are established, like within the family. I might have to get on you. That does
Mhm.
not mean that I am setting you up for having a bad day. Now, I'm with you. I don't think that the last thing a child should remember is getting pushed out of the car, because I'm sick of you. Get out of here, and I don't feel like being bothered anymore. You've aggravated me all the way to school. No, I don't think that that's the case. But I do think that when you create that respect as a way that we deal with one another, when I have
Mhm.
to get on you, you understand, like, I was in the wrong. And this is what I think happens when we have that communication with our children. You can say to Tammy, as she's getting out of the car, listen, I know I had to get on you very harshly this morning, but let's talk about it.
Mhm.
What happened? Or, why was there such an issue this morning with getting your things and getting to the car? And who knows what the answer to that question is, but making that peace again before you release them to the school is important, because that does set the tone sometimes for how the rest of the day is going to go.
It does. And the next part of the acronym is the E for excellence. And we always want to teach our children to operate at a level of excellence. And we have to do that as well as parents. And I'm going to start by talking about attendance. Attendance is so important, especially in the earlier grades. Some people tend to think that, oh, pre-K and kindergarten, no, those are not important grades. They're just coloring. I know when my husband was the person that dropped off before he changed jobs, and I would do pickup. So I got a letter in the mail about the children being late. Like they had so many tardies, and I'm like, what is this? Why y'all late every day? And he said, oh, it don't matter. They just coloring. No, they're not just coloring. Then I had to say, you got me down here looking crazy, and I'm in education. So sometimes the thinking of the earlier grades, pre-K and kindergarten, is the thinking that, oh, well, they're not really doing that much. But Tammy can definitely explain why those foundational skills are so important, especially when we're talking about their reading abilities. But that attendance, they have to be at school. We can't teach children, we can't help them advance if they're not there. We can't help them if they're missing 20 to 30
And Sheikah's frozen, but she's absolutely right. You cannot expect that children are going to be able to be successful if they aren't even at school to learn. And that's the thing. Like, we cannot teach kids that are not present. So that was that thought that Sheikah was giving us, and that does begin the foundation for excellence. And I'll share a little bit more about foundational skills when we get to the literacy part of the acronym, because that is so key. The other thing that I'll just add to the excellence part of the framework is just having kids to understand, hey guys, you can operate in excellence. You want to go to school. And she could say this, when the girls go to school, look, you're representing us. Like, you go to school, we believe in excellence. We want you to do well. We want you to make sure that when you get to school, you give everything that you have so that you are doing your very best. And whatever that standard of excellence is, we're not saying, because that gets convoluted, and we are not here to talk about what that means as far as grading and rankings and all that goes, because we have to have like 3 or 4 sessions devoted to that, because I have my own ideas about how that works. But just knowing that what your standard of excellence is should be applicable to the child. And I don't mean your children, because it might look different from child to child within your house. I applaud my mom for that. She never set one standard for what she expected us to do and to accomplish and to be when it came to schooling. And I think that's an important aspect of just being a good parent, knowing what your children's abilities are and helping them to achieve the excellence that defines what excellence is for them.
And can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. And I apologize about my hotel internet. It's wonky. So we only have 4 minutes left. We want to get through this. Accountability is the next part. You definitely want to be your children's accountability partner or your child's accountability partner. Check up on them. Don't just, think, oh, well, I haven't heard from the school. Everything must be going great. We got to check in on our children. We need to know who their friends are. We need to know what they're talking about. We need to know how those grades look, and not just taking it from the child's mouth. They have parent portal that you can check in on. You can see when test grades and what they're accomplishing. And, oh, did you go back and make up this test because I see you didn't do have a good score on it? Did you go back and get retaught the skills? Sometimes I've had to get on my daughter about that, or she's not working up to her best ability. So those are some things we need to do for accountability.
Yes, and then make sure that your child knows that being accountable is just a part of it. Kind of goes back to that respect. It's your responsibility. You are the student, and school is your work. We send you to school to learn. So when you get there, you're the one that's accountable for this. Like, however this turns out, this comes back to you. Yes, teachers are important, and you do have to make sure that you're in constant communication to make sure that you are on the same page with the school. But the ultimate accountability goes back to, I'm sending you to school to learn. This is what I want you to do when you get there. So making sure that your child knows that expectation is there from you.
Definitely. And the next one is literacy. We have to make sure, even if homework is not assigned, that students are literate in reading and also numeracy, so that they're practicing reading and math every night. I have something for my children to do, and they'll say, oh, but we don't have homework. Yes, you do. You have mommy's homework. If there's no homework from school, then you have mommy's homework. And so we make sure that we're practicing those skills to continue to hone those skills, because if you don't use it, you do lose it. And Tammy's going to give some more information about those foundational skills.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, Shika's right. Like, literacy and numeracy are just things that are going to require you as a parent to make sure that your children are developing the automaticity that you have to become mathematicians and to become strong readers. But I wanted to just share one statistic with you guys, because there was an analysis done, and this was done over with more than 9.9 million students. So this is a big study, but it found that the students who read 15 minutes or more each day were the only kids that showed accelerated gains in reading. We've been saying this since we started. Make sure that you're reading with your kids at home for 20 minutes a day. Do not accept from them, oh no, I'm already read. I don't want to read. I hate reading. It pains me to hear kids talk about, oh, I don't want to read. That is one of the most foundational skills you will ever be able to develop. And the younger, the better. When start reading in vitro. If you're expecting and watching this, read to your fetus. Just read, because it is important that those skills are developed, because other things come from that. There are so many other statistics. The main one that we want to just emphasize today is when kids don't get those basic foundational skills, those kids are more prone to exit high school before graduation. So please make sure that for literacy and numeracy, that you're practicing with your children at home. And you don't have to do it for hours, just 20 minutes a day is all we're asking, or practice those fast facts with them. Whatever you can do to strengthen that foundational base that those kids have. And that's from pre-K through, I say, ninth grade.
Definitely, Tammy. And then the last one is leadership before we run out of time. What is your child responsible for at home or at school? How are you training them to lead their own life in the future? So, regardless, it could be something small, it could be chores, but they should be responsible for something at home, because you have to hone leadership in them no matter what they decide to go into. They are ultimately going to be the leaders of their lives. So you have to put in them some things that show that they have the capability of being leaders. And what your children need to work on. I had to, one of my daughters wasn't as assertive as the other one, so I had to build that in her. The other one was too assertive, so I kind of have to help her balance that out. So, your children and what they need help with. Just make sure that you're developing that in them.
And just be sure, as you're teaching them those leadership skills, help them to understand it's fine to be a trailblazer. Encourage them. Blaze your own trail, honey. You do not have to follow the ways that have been paved. That's fine if you choose that path. But don't be afraid to blaze your own trail. You need to be the leader of your life. You need to be the leader of your school life, and encourage them to be leaders so that they can be role models for others who may not get the encouragement that you're offering your children.
Definitely. Well, we hope that this has been something that will help you with your children and help educators. If you want to share this with parents, something that they find helpful, make sure that you're tuning in with us on Saturdays here at 10:30 every Saturday Eastern time. If you have not seen the new episode of The Collaborative with the beautiful Dot McKeever Jeter, make sure you check that out. She gave a great back to school message for everyone. So please check that out. It's on our page. And also on Sunday, make sure you tune in to Unlock the Middle. You can join us next. We will be on Principal Kafele's page as he is flying solo this Saturday. Right after us. And then also on Sunday, I will be speaking with some great educators and community members about challenges in education on higher definition radio. So thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yes, happy Saturday. She can make sure you tell Lamont to call me so that we can get together.
Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone. Bye-bye.
Happy Saturday.